so many other things. So we deal with these people with openness and respect. So as a social worker, the core thing, the core values we should have to ourselves is what we call the openness and respect. We must be able to respect ourselves and at the same time respect people that we are going to work with, because this will help us to communicate effectively with different people. So our own strong opinion could be natural, but we would be able to blend into how to ensure that these our clients are very, very comfortable. So the objective of our services to them remain that they have this justice which we are focusing on. And for us to have the justice for them, we should have actionable solutions that we have both penciled down so as to enhance their living, because that's one of the key things that brought us together. So we should be able, by doing this, we should be able to stand and advocate for them, to ask for what they are lacking, bring about the changes we are looking for in terms of their behavior, in terms of their reaction to the actions of the society or people around them, in terms of overcoming the challenges they are having before coming to our our offices. So we should be able to advocate for them so that they will have a better life, so that we can enhance their living. Also, while dealing with them, we should be able to manage their time perfectly. We should look at it from when we start the solution to their problem, and when they want, or when it's possible for them to get this solution. So we should work within that time frame by giving them attention, giving them care, and giving them emotional support. So with this one, we should be able to have where the boundaries are. So this is where we set boundaries and look at the ethical culture of our profession. We set boundaries. We know when we give the self-care, we know when it's going to extreme, we know when to regulate it, we know when to struggle with it, and so many things, so that all of these boundaries will make us to know when to stop, when to refer, when to take in, and when to terminate. So with the time management, the boundary setting, we will be able to think critically. And critical thinking is one of the unique feature of a very skilled social worker. You think for front, back, sideways, and different things that could come out of the services you are rendering, so as to make you to be empathy about whatever you want to do and however you want to do it. So with this, we will be able to have this utility of strong communication between us and our clients, every individual, families or groups, organizations or communities that we are there to serve as a social worker. So while engaging every individual, we should have this intervention approach skill. We should know where to intervene, how to intervene, and the process of intervening in different circumstances and different social issues that is around us. So we need to know more about the intervention skills. We need to go and read more about these intervention skills so that we will know different types of interventions, different types of models that we can make use of, and the processes of making use of those intervention skills so that we can work in collaboration with either the individual, the group, or the family, or the community, or the organizations, wherever we find ourselves. We will be able to work in collaboration, knowing fully what the goal of our services is all about. So we will be able to work in collaboration so as to achieve this goal, and from there we will be able to identify ourselves as a professional social worker. We will be able to conduct ourselves as a professional social worker, and we know what to say and what not to say, how to manage issues around us. I hope that is clear before I go to another one. I think we should be able to finish this competent today. Then the next core competence skills that is very essential to us is the leadership and management skill. There are different forms of leadership styles that we have learned in the past, different types of leadership styles that we have learned in the past, and it's really, really working for us. And sometimes it is advisable that we can use more than one, two of these leadership styles so as to have the grip of what we are doing. So for us to be very, very good in any of these styles, we have made up our mind to choose among our colleagues, among our the groups we are working with, among the community or organizations we are working with. We should be able to build trust by listening attentively. We should have these active listening skills. So as we are hearing what people, clients, individual, group, or families are saying, we should be able to draw exact points out. By the time we draw exact points out, we will be able to manage and understand what the situation is before we will be able to advocate for the client and set this balance of the boundary so that we we think along the line and document the issues properly so that we give with our strategies, we can give a positive change and also maintain the relationship even when the services we are rendering is over. So we will be able to maintain cordial relationship with our clients. So we should be able to demonstrate these leadership skills so as to promote this social exchange that we are working towards. So we should be able to promote the leadership skill. So with that, we have this effectiveness of managing the available resources that is with us. And when we talk about the management of available resources, We talk about the time. Time is one of our essential resources because many people do not quantify their time to mean anything to them. But as a social worker, quantifying time is one of the essential things that we need to know and manage very well. So we need to quantify our time, we need to manage it, we need to manage our personnel and finances that is around us so that we can organize whatever we want to do, so that we can coordinate whatever we want to do, and then we can originate it so as to suit the issues on ground, and we will be able to deliver effectively the type of care or services that is expected of us when we are able to communicate perfectly through utilizing a critical thinking faculty that we have so as to solve problems, and even if there are complex issues around us and which could bring about complex challenges. So we should be able to solve all of these problems critically by using all the other skills that we have acquired so that we'll be able to pencil down what we really need to do, and we carry out our actions at the appropriate time so that we should be able to have the positive change at the right time. So with our leadership style and the processes of how we are putting down these leadership styles, we should be able to address, solve issues, bring out our skills that we have competent on, and apply it to issues that are on the table so as to have the positive changes that we are working towards. Are we clear with these two so that I can move forward? Then we can move into the issue of critical thinking. Critical thinking is one of the complex skill that is very, 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 very important in the field of social work. When we talk about critical thinking, we look at the objective analysis and evaluation of issues in order to form judgment. Objective analysis and evaluation of issues in order to form judgment. So this skill is very, very, very essential to us in the field of social work. It's very essential to us in the field of social work. And many a times, many of us, we are unable to to iron out all of these things and have solutions to. When we talk about critical thinking in social work, we always is a skill that we always use to integrate. We integrate it into the application of solving some problems within our domain. So there are things that we need to look at when we talk about critical thinking. The issue that raises from causes of the particular issue, that's the causes of the particular social issues at hand, knowing the cognitive basis of those social issues. By the time we know the cognitive basis of those social issues, we will be able
Sorry, ma.
to
Sorry for cutting you. You said knowing the cognitive what? Basis.
cognitive
Ma?
basis.
Basis.
Cognitive
Okay,
basis.
basis.
Mm. So by the time we know this cognitive basis, we should be able to connect the logics between ideas, connect logics between ideas. Then we now construct and evaluate the arguments around those social issues. So with this, we will be able to dictate common mistakes in our reasoning. So by that, we look at possible or systemic solution to those particular issues. And then we now connect with the basic ideas or important ideas that could reflect on the issues we are talking about and the values that is attached to those our ideas. That's why we said is one of those skills that is very essential in social work. So it brings out creativities in us. It brings out self-reflection in us. When we talk about self-reflection, some of the cases we have done before that is happening now, what we did then, how is it different from this one? What are the things that we could look around this one? And what are the solutions that we could prefer to this? Yes, we have done this type of cases before. These are the solutions. But then what are the buts in that particular solution for the former one? What are the issues that we can bring out in this? So with this, it brings out a very good reflection of ourselves and how we are able to confidently handle issues without much or little problem. So these are the things that is around critical issues. So critical issues are very, very essential to us. It brings out, critical thinking brings out issues, the visuals, the interpretations we have to the issues on ground, the evaluations we have to issues on ground, and some verbal issues that we need to pin down to reason with it or to discard when we talk about those issues, the truth about what is on ground and the solutions or the assumptions that we could bring out to support the positive changes that we are looking at. So the steps to critical thinking is just about creating, evaluating, analyzing, applying whatever we have on ground, understanding what we have applied and looking at it, does it really bring the solution we are talking about, then reflecting about ourselves and the issue so that we can document it very well. So when we talk about critical thinking, it could be in your personal life, it could be professional life, like what we are talking about now. So you now look at what way in the professional life can you improve the services or care that you are giving out to those who are in need of those services or care. The environment where you are, if you take the case the way it comes, how will the cultural sensitivity of that environment allow it to go like that? So sometimes that's why you will see sometimes in the family social services, there are a lot of things that will make you not to just act the way you ought to act. You have to think to the left, to the right, think above and below before you take your your decision. If not, you could take some decision that could cause some other problems within that environment, and you might not be able to control it again. So many a times we should use critical thinking by asking so many questions of the 5WH. The 5WH. So you ask why, you ask what, you ask where, you ask who and when. By the time you ask all the 5W, then you now end it with how. How did it happen? By the time you look at all these 5WH, you will be able to cope. You'll be able to write detail about the issue. You'll be able to compare and contrast the issue. Have you gotten a similar issue like that before? No. What do you do? You have not gotten a similar issue like that before. What do you do? If you have it, is it really the same thing? How did you treat it? So all those things are the questions you will ask yourself. So by the time you ask and ask, then you will be able to analyze and explain the significance of each of these and interpret the issue to what you can understand more, and then you apply a reasonable solution to it, and then you now evaluate your application. Do you really do it right? If it is, then you have done the right thing. So if it is not, then you might need to go back and look at what the problem is by expressing the problem, list possible solution, select your best solutions again, and evaluate yourself again. So that's all about the critical thinking in social work. So another aspect of the core competence that we might need to mention in this class before I close it all is communication. Communication is one of the vital tool that is used in social work to get a lot of things together, and ensure that we get to the best of whatever we are doing in the field of social work. I usually ask some people some question. When they say they are social workers, they only limit themselves to verbal communication. They don't know about the non-verbal communication, which is not a plus to us. So we can only speak, listen, and do every other thing. But we don't know how to use our hand, our legs, our eyes to do communication. So we need to know all of this. It's a very essential skill in social work. We are not too old to learn it, because there are some people that cannot voice out, but they wanted to communicate with us. So we need to help them so that they get our attention and we can provide solutions to their problem. So when we talk about communication, communication in so many places is the ability needed for effective information exchange. Am I communicating? It is the ability. So it is it is not just one ability, it's more than one ability. So it is abilities needed for effective information exchange. So it could be in both sides, it could be by sending or by receiving the message. So when we talk about communication, it is this professional ability now that encompasses various aspects of whether listening, speaking, observing, and empathizing. So it is a very essential skill that is needed in the field of social work. So when we talk about communication, there are key aspects of communication that is very essential to us as a skill in this field. So the first one involve what we call the verbal communication. The verbal communication involve using spoken languages to convey informations, to convey ideas, to convey feelings. So for us as a social worker, we should be able to adapt to the speech of the audience. We should be able to adapt to the speech of the audience. So we should try as much as possible, not just listening, but to understand exactly what the client is trying to say, what the group is trying to say, what the community is trying to communicate across to us. So we should be able to have this at the back of our mind so that by the time we are there in the field, we will be able to understand everybody by listening to them, by speaking with them, by doing the right thing with them. Because by the time we perceive or assume what the other person is saying, we might not be able to really understand what that person is saying. So it is better for us to be able to convey this spoken language to bring about the information that is needed for us to hear, the ideas that the other party is passing to us, the feeling of the other person, so that we will be able to document rightly. Then there's what we call the non-verbal communication. The non-verbal communication is all about using It encompasses and it also bring about using the body language, the facial expression, the gesture, the eye contact to communicate and signify some things to impart us like a message that we are expected to receive. Even though sometimes some people could speak verbally, but they will choose at a particular instance not to even voice out. Rather, they will use the eye contact to take your eyes to where they want you to investigate or lead you to get more information about what you are asking about. So you must be able, as a social worker, be able to interpret the body language, the visual expression, and some other things that is attached to non-verbal communication so that we can get the right message at the right time and we will be able to do the right thing at the right time. Another one that is very essential to us in the field of social work is the skill, the written communication skill. We should be able to convey the information that is needed in a straightforward language. So when we talk about straightforward language, we need to communicate to buy the idea of smart now. We should be specific. Our documentation or our written words should be measurable. It should be accurate so as to get what it should also be reliable. It should be reliable. We shouldn't tell what is not. And it should be time boundary so that by the time we consider the whole of these five, we will be able to document the right thing. So at the time we are able to document the right thing, we will be able.
Sorry, I didn't get I didn't sorry ma excuse me. Hello
You have
ma.
the floor. You have the floor. You have the floor.
Okay. Hello ma, please. You said the
We can't hear you. Maybe you will test.
written.
Test.
Hello ma.
We cannot hear you. It's
Good
breaking.
evening. Good afternoon ma.
Please, we cannot hear you. The line is breaking. So
Good
test.
afternoon ma.
Good afternoon. So when we talk about the written, the smart should be taken into consideration. Then we now talk about the other side, which has to do with the listening, the active listening as the receiver of what is being communicated now. So we should be able to build rapport and listen critically to the person that is communicating to us. We should also look at the context of what is written down, the essential things and the styles we want to adapt to so as to have the perfect issues that is being communicated to us. For the person that is talking, we cannot hear you. So please, maybe you should put whatever you want to ask in the question or the comments something so that we will be able to answer you very well. So when we talk about communication, there is 7 C's to communications framework. We call it 7 C's to communication framework or framework of communication. The first one is clarity. There should be clarity in whatever we want to communicate. There should be concreteness in whatever you want to communicate. There should be correctness in whatever you want to communicate. It has to be complete by looking at your 5WH. You must make it to complete. There should be consideration in whatever you want to communicate. There should be courtesy in whatever you want to communicate, and there should be conciseness in whatever you want to communicate. With this, if you have this within you, so you must be able to know what you are communicating. When we talk about conciseness in whatever you want to communicate, we talk about the ability to convey information quickly and clearly while omitting irrelevant elements that could distract you from the main point. So it makes the recipients improve the effectiveness and the comprehension by bulleting whatever we are talking about. So by the time we bullet whatever we are talking about, people will really understand that those that were bullet or highlighted or bold are the ones that needs attention, or we asterisk it for anybody that wants to read the information to know that those that are asterisk are very, very important and very urgent for us to look into. There should be clarity. The issue of clarity is that the audience can understand the messages with ease so as to reduce misunderstanding and confusion. So we should speak clearly and rationally while arranging our thoughts. So we need to organize ourselves so that it also has its own techniques and the way of bringing it out for us to. Completeness in communication is just a means of using specific facts, figures, and examples to make the messages very vivid and memorable for everybody that the message is for. Then when we talk about the concrete aspect of it, is like a test that shows that our advanced endpoint protection is significant. So we should not breach the information. So that means that the information have been quantified to a particular rate, maybe 50%, 70%, 25%. It all depends on the quantification we are giving to it. It must have date, it must have timeline, and then the sources must also be provided. Why we should not use metaphor or simile to convey the information. So with all of this, I think we have finish the little syllabus that is meant for our class. Do we have any question that we want to address so that we would be able to leave the class? Your message is not showing. No.
Well done, ma.
Thank you, sir.
I really want to talk about the issue of timeline.
Yes, ma'am.
Sometimes you have a time, or they have a timeline considering the interest of the clients to make sure the person who has the issue or the community will work within the time frame. But you find out that issues that might come up in course of handling the issue, the matter, will make it elapse the timeline. So what do we do on such a situation?
You can continue to set timeline. Sometimes when you set a first phase timeline and you see that there are some issues that come up within that issue, you could still call your client and let them understand why we are changing the timeline.
Okay. Is that right?
So it's better you communicate the change of the timeline than not communicating at all. Any other question, please? Any other question? Or we call it a day? Any other question? Can we call it a day?
I think it's a problem. I think it's a problem of network. Maybe they want to ask me, so maybe the network is not clear.
And somebody sent the message, but unfortunately, I was unable to read the message because the message, I don't know where the message is. I was unable to read the message. So, shall we call it a day? So, everybody should have a pleasant day. I wish you all your best in your practice. God bless us all.
Bless you too, ma. Thank you, ma. God bless you.
Thank you. You're welcome. Bye.
Bye. Yes, ma'am. Bye, ma.